From the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys into whom you can place your trust. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today, online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on The Fan, the Blazers have lost 3 straight and 4 of their last 5. A quick turnaround as they visit the Warriors in San Francisco tonight. DeAndre Ayton out. Denny Avdia, Robert Williams III are game time decisions. It's a 7 o'clock tip on KUNP. That's 2.2 on your antenna or Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12-point underdogs. One roster note, Matisse Thybulle assigned to the Rip City Remix for return to court conditioning. He will practice, but will not play in a game for the Remix. The NFL's legal negotiating window has officially opened. There are a bunch of reported deals. The Seahawks signing quarterback Sam Darnold, 3 years, $110.5 million, with $55 million guaranteed. The move reunites him with offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, with whom he previously worked in San Francisco. The Jets signing quarterback Justin Fields to a 2-year, $40 million deal, $30 million guaranteed. Panthers making J.C. Horn the highest-paid defensive back in league history with a 4-year, $100 million deal, $70 million guaranteed. Former Defensive Player of the Year, Khalil Mack, returning to the Chargers on a 1-year, $18 million deal. The Bears add another offensive lineman, agreeing with center Drew Dahlman for 3 years and $42 million, with $28 million guaranteed. The Rams signed defensive tackle Poona Ford, 3 years, $30 million, and the Chiefs signed former 49ers offensive lineman Jalen Moore on a 2-year, $30 million deal. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust, George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The ultimate basketball party, Fan Madness, is back. March 20th and 21st at the Stadium Sports Bar at A&A Sportsbook. More info at 1080thefan.com. This is Danny and Dusty.
Meringatang is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
I'll throw some monkey sounds in there and call it good.
The old Danny Meringue pie.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Good afternoon! Hey, welcome in.
Everybody's back.
Happy Monday. Yeah, everybody is back. Rust, you had a case of mud butt over the weekend?
Dude, we gave ourselves food poisoning or something.
Oh, boy. You gave it to yourself?
Well, I think it perhaps was a tainted piece of meat.
You are
prepared at home.
You are the preparer of foods in your home, yes?
Well, Mandy does most of the cooking.
Oh, she does?
I do sometimes, but
Okay.
she does most of it, yeah. But yeah, it was me, her, our 8-year-old. We were all hurting. That was an ugly Friday morning.
I'm sorry that you went through that.
Yeah, super fun. It was one of those, we hit the end of the meat aisle where they got the stuff marked down for quick sale. Usually you're okay there. As long as you go home, you cook it that day, which we did, and
not good.
I guess sometimes you play with fire, you get burned.
I lost some weight, yeah?
Yeah. I don't ever do that with anything other than red meat.
That's what it was. It was a pot roast.
Okay. You got a pot roast?
Because there's, what I'm saying, like sometimes they have like the pork marked down or seafood marked down. I'm just like,
oh yeah, I'm not going to go on the markdown seafood.
No,
thank you.
No. Well, I'm glad that you're feeling back. You're 100%.
Yeah.
Pain don't hurt is the t-shirt of the day.
Right. It did on Friday.
Yep. He was not talking about physical pain there. He was talking about emotional pain because Dalton got seen as and painted as just a brute. He was not. He's an intellectual.
Yeah.
That's what pain don't hurt means.
Something of a philosopher.
Yeah. Pain don't hurt. Emotional pain. That's what hurts. All right. Well, I'm back. I'm playing about 80% today.
Yeah.
Which is a lot better than most years.
Yeah. It's self-induced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You knew coming in that Monday was going to be rough.
Went up in the hills, came back down. We're feeling good. Though. So if you think I'm losing my voice, kind of am. But we're going to power on through. It's been a busy day today. Twitter went down and everybody freaked out because the NFL's League New Year started at 9 a.m. today. And what that meant is that all of the news reporters, they couldn't get their reports out.
It's a tough place to be. You had to go to the TVs to get them.
Yeah.
God, what is it, like 1998?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What I mean, how does this even happen?
Big day for linear TV.
Yeah. Or was it Blue Sky? And
A lot of those guys still aren't even over there yet. NFL
Instagram, Facebook for the olds was active today.
Oh, my face, your face, instant face.
Bill Belichick's all over that now. He's a college football coach. He's active on social media now. But there's a lot of movement across the National Football League. But it's the dumbest thing ever because of how many deals were already done. I don't know, all last week. This weekend was a crazy weekend when it came to the world of the NFL. Trades going down. Your team found a quarterback.
Yes.
How you feel about that, Geno Smith?
Everything about this is signs of a functional organization. The Raiders trading not even their own third-round pick.
Yeah.
Like, the pick that they traded to the Seahawks is the one they got from the Jets for trading Devontae Adams. They turned 10 games of Devontae Adams into Geno Smith. That's good business. That's good business.
Yeah, I'd rather have Devontae Adams over Geno Smith still.
But he's gone.
Yeah.
So
But he's gone. He's gone. He is gone. He is gone.
So you sign Max Crosby. You get a stopgap quarterback that's going to get a 2-year deal.
Boy, you've talked yourself into this.
No, this is what I have said. You get a
Girl,
stopgap.
you something else.
You get a stopgap quarterback, and everybody I've talked to that covers the Raiders has said the same thing. They are very much still in line to take a quarterback in this draft.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I firmly believe it's Jackson Dart. I firmly believe that is who they're targeting.
You're waiting until the second round, and you're going to go get Jackson Dart.
Yep.
All right.
But this is what a functional
Ripping darts. Let's go.
This is what a functional organization does. You get a viable veteran quarterback that gives everybody else enough stability that going into every single game, you know that you have functional play.
You know what your floor is.
Yes. And they have not had that in, 4 years since DC left?
Derek Carr.
Yeah. And before that, since Carson Palmer?
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah. So, look, the bar is the floor, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just
I can see why you're talking yourself into that.
I'm talking myself into it. It's like, it's very, very simple things that they weren't doing for years. And now they're just, let's go through, check some boxes. Let's do the right thing.
It's the Tom Brady effect.
Look, he is a part of it. I hate it. No, but you're not wrong.
No, this is totally Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll loved Geno.
Yeah.
And he's bringing him in. He knows exactly what he is. He
knows how to build around
bridge
him.
to another world,
Yeah.
and they're hoping that they can get there. They need weapons around Geno in a big way. That's going to be the hard part is where do you find those and how do you build right now because they all have seemed to found new homes. But it is signs of function.
Look,
Signs of function.
the Raiders doing this is step one. I've heard that they'll probably sign Geno to essentially the same deal that Sam Darnold got, but with a little bit more money on it, but not as much of a guarantee in year 3. So basically, it gives them
38 at that point.
Exactly.
Because that is the thing. Geno Smith is old.
Yes. So
in NFL terms.
you get him for 2 years. You draft the rookie. You have him sit behind him, figure it out for at least the year. You evaluate the next year. All of a sudden, you get $40 million to come off the books. Now you can go put some weapons around your young guy that are going to match the timeline, make more sense, and you just start building. This is how you get back to relevancy.
Yeah, they need to.
Yeah.
Because the rest of their division, here's the bad part about that, is that the rest of that division is getting so much better by the minute.
And so you've got to, that's the thing is look, is Mahomes going to be done in 2 years? No.
Nah.
But you got to start building to where the tail end of Mahomes, now the division starts to change over and it starts to make a little bit more sense. But that's why you don't go out and you make dumb moves right now. You're not anywhere close to competing with those guys. So just do the slow burn build.
It was better than for where they're at as an organization in the division that they're in.
It was the best possible move.
It was better than going to sign Sam Darnold.
Or I heard that they had conversations about trading for Kirk Cousins as well.
Way better than that.
Yes.
Way better than that.
And I guess they kicked the can on Kyler Murray just to see what that was. Which no. Give me 2 years of Geno. I'm totally fine with that.
I don't know. Kyler Murray with Chip Kelly. I might want it.
It's the other stuff, man.
He would have been the best quarterback that franchise has had since Rich Gannon.
You're not wrong. But it's all the other stuff that I'm just like, I don't think the core of the organization.
You have a functional head coach though too. You have to remember that.
Yeah, it's true.
You have Pete Carroll.
It's been a while since we had one
You
of
have
those
Pete
too.
Carroll. Come on.
I had to change my mindset.
Yeah. Dude, you're an abused puppy. We're gonna bring you in. We're gonna give you some hugs and some pets.
I'm still hiding in the corner.
This is gonna take a while.
The food bowl's on the other side of the pen. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near it.
Yes, you have your head coach, and he deals with crazy. He can do this. All right, you got this.
Look, man,
right.
I'm just celebrating that Justin Fields is not my quarterback. Thrilled beyond belief.
Well, if you're a Jets fan,
Yikes, dog.
it's not going to be great for you.
Yikes, dog. Garrett Wilson's out here liking tweets and pictures about Justin Fields going to the Jets. So,
all right. Somebody's happy.
Good luck
about
with
it.
that.
Somebody's happy about it. All right, we have a ton of movement across the NFL landscape. Sam Darnold, he is now a Seattle Seahawk. We've got to get to that. Myles Garrett, he called takebacks over the weekend. No way.
Well, when you get that kind of cash.
Yeah, you really can. And a ton of movement, including one team is figuring it out and pushing all in around their youngster. But where we got to start, let's go with this quarterback carousel. We talk about Geno Smith getting traded to the Raiders from the Seattle Seahawks. That left a door wide open for Seattle at quarterback. They go and they get Sam Darnold, and now we're starting to see all of the dominoes fall. What does Darnold in Seattle mean, and what's the rest of the market look like? This is Danny and Dusty on The Fan. Quarterback dominoes falling across the National Football League as the Geno Smith trade to the Las Vegas Raiders was the first of what many moves that are now transpiring in the free agent market. Free agency in the NFL opened up on at 9 a.m. this morning, and so 9 a.m. our time. And we saw, all right, what's going to happen next? Geno Smith opened the door for a Seahawks opening at quarterback.
Flurry of activity.
Yeah, and the first one really to fall was Justin Fields. Justin Fields holding the cards. Is he going to go to Pittsburgh? Is he going to go to New York? Nobody knew. One thing that we knew really quickly was that Sam Darnold, he was going to Seattle, and the Seahawks found their quarterback in Sam Darnold, inking the now journeyman to a multi-year deal, not overpaying for Sam Darnold.
$55 million guaranteed, 3-year, $100.5 million.
So, yeah, you're on the hook for his cap number is going to be like $33 million a year. That is, we talked about this last week, middle of the road. We were talking, who's going to give him 40? I said, I hope nobody gives him 40.
No.
And he didn't get that.
No. And not only that, it's a new era underway, not just the quarterback position, but DK Metcalf gets traded and Tyler Lockett is out. So you've got to rebuild your wide receiver room around JSN, but they do get a second-round pick in the DK Metcalf trade. I would say that's probably earmarked for a wide receiver.
You'd hope. I mean,
if not their first round pick.
I have my concerns with Sam Darnold going to Seattle, and I've made this known that.
Oh yeah.
We know that Sam Darnold, and I was like a Sam Darnold defender, and then now I'm sitting there like, well, let's pump the brakes on what the ceiling of Sam Darnold is going to be, because he had Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. By the way, Kevin O'Connell as your play caller. It was a perfect storm for him to thrive, and he did. And that was the whole thing, is why I was a Sam Darnold defender before. Well, now you look at Seattle's offense. Seattle's offense has got their own issues, right? You have to figure out what's going on with the interior of your offensive line. You only have one wide receiver when you used to have three. You have a running back field that your running backs are good when they're healthy, but they're never healthy. You can't find a way to keep Kenneth Walker upright and on the field. You have a brand new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak who is stepping in, and you know what you're going to get stylistically. You're going to have quick decisions that are going to have to be made in the passing game, and he's going to be running a lot of outside zone because he is a Kubiak. It's an offshoot of the Shanahan system. You know exactly how it's going to look stylistically. Does that fit the personnel? And right now, it doesn't. It doesn't fit the personnel for Seattle, especially with Sam Darnold as your quarterback.
Yeah, look, I get the idea of Darnold as being your stopgap and moving on from Geno because he's getting older and you don't want to commit to him. You think you've reached the ceiling, so you're kind of doing a soft boot reset. But where's the rest of the plan? Like your running game is
Well, you need to fix your interior offensive line.
Yes, and your weapons are severely limited.
Yeah.
You've got Fant at tight end. You've got JSN as one of your receivers, but you need to figure out what you're going to do on the outside.
Everything else.
Yeah, and it's just kind of watching Seahawks fans on social media over the last couple of days. It appears they're all going through it. There are a lot of like, what's the plan here, dude?
Well, it's transition period for sure, but you got to collect assets. You got to get guys that are good values. And look, Darnold at this number, it actually is a good value now. Like you're okay with this. It's not you didn't go out and sign a quarterback to a crippling contract, Kirk Cousins, and say try to convince your fan base that this is going to be the guy that's going to take you to the promised land. Not by a long shot. Is it seem like a lot of money? It is to you and I, but in quarterback contract terms, it's okay. So Darnold goes to Seattle. Now you have Justin Fields, who he is going to the New York Jets. Hey, yo, Justin Fields to the Jets. And there was a bidding war for Justin Fields.
Which to me is just insane. I don't get it. I know Garrett Wilson is excited about this, his old college quarterback coming back to town. But the way you feel about Darnold is multiply it by 10. is how I feel about Justin Fields. I feel like he's
Well, I actually like Sam Darnold.
Oh yeah, that's saying.
You don't like Sam Darnold, or you don't like Justin Fields.
No, I don't think he's worthy of being a starting quarterback under any circumstance. I think he is a really good backup.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is a guy that you can go to. I don't think it is a good idea to build your team around or to even have him as a consideration for a stopgap quarterback if you have any idea about competing.
He is 2 years, $40 million deal. You can get out of it very quickly.
Oh, yeah. It is a stopgap.
It is a very short deal. It is a prove it deal. And look, if one of the reasons why you make this move is you're looking at a litany of stopgap quarterbacks, and one of the reasons is Garrett Wilson will be happy with it, I think you do it.
It's not a bad idea.
You know what I mean? Like, keeping Garrett Wilson happy is going to be important. Obviously, they have a pre-existing relationship from playing with each other at Ohio State, and Garrett Wilson likes Justin Fields. Now we'll just say, all right, let's see how much you like him now, buddy. But of the options that were available, what was the other option for the Jets? You know?
Yeah.
Russ?
Do you go Russ? I mean, do you pursue Darnold before the Seahawks get it?
I mean, none of those. And again,
you're not going to bring Darnold back to New York.
They're in the same spot.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold cannot come back to the Jets, but cannot do it. Do you go get Daniel Jones because he worked so well across the street? No, you don't.
You had your options narrowed down for you.
Yeah. And so Justin Fields, it works there. Now you look at, okay, what are they going to do in Pittsburgh? What did they do in Pittsburgh? Now that we can check the box of Raiders got their quarterback. Mm-hmm. The Jets got their quarterback. Vikings have J.J. McCarthy still. So they're fine. The Seahawks, there's quarterback position opened up. They check that box. That leaves us with Pittsburgh and the Giants. And Pittsburgh created an entirely new issue with the fact that I said this last week. I said Mike Tomlin deals with crazy better than anybody else. I don't know if he even wants to deal with the crazy of George Pickens and DK Metcalf. He said, bet. Yeah. And you got two guys that can burn you vertically. Mm-hmm. By the way, take your over on whatever preseason yards or Pat Freiermuth because he's going to be open all season long. He's going to be open. If they can find a quarterback to deliver it to him. Because right now, who is Pittsburgh's quarterback going to be?
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones.
If you're going to double down on crazy, that's the move.
I cringe at the idea of Aaron Rodgers playing in AFC North weather at the end of next year.
I mean,
he
played in NFC North weather his whole career.
Yeah, when he was mobile.
That's true.
It could get real bad.
Not 41.
And oh, by the way, 2 of those stadiums were domed. There are no domes in the AFC North.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Oh, man. And there's really damn good defenses, too.
Yeah, well, I mean, do you bring Russ back?
That was so. But now you have Russell Wilson knowing, because all of the reporting was that Justin Fields was like, no, it's either Pittsburgh or New York. Mm-hmm. I know I can go back to Pittsburgh. You know that you're
what your preference
Pittsburgh's
was.
Second choice.
Yeah.
And it didn't go well at the end of last year. I mean, like, that's the thing. Is Russell Wilson going to be the Giants quarterback next year?
Oh, God. Yeah. Boy, this is why I think the Raiders did the prudent thing. They did this on Friday and got their quarterback taken care of, so they weren't in this position of, oh crap, what do we do? I mean, if you're the Giants, do you trade for Kirk Cousins?
No.
The Kyler Murray stuff apparently had some legs.
I'm the one team that. You want to talk about an awful contract? We said it was an awful contract at the time. Kirk Cousins' deal looks even worse now because was coming off an injury and you gave him a bloated contract and he looked terrible. And then at the end of the year, he's like, no, it wasn't the Achilles. That wasn't the reason. It was my arm. It's like, oh, yeah, that's a great selling point, Kirk.
That might be worse.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So this is going to be all of a sudden where the sliding doors have opened and closed across this quarterback carousel. The Raiders made a very smart move. They got a very good Band-Aid. And look, the reality is that Geno Smith getting traded from Seattle to Vegas is probably where you also see a team like the Steelers or the Giants fix their quarterback problem for this year. Is they go and they trade for a guy that people really don't expect. It's not going to be a star because stars don't get traded in the NFL at the quarterback position. And they are going to find a way to fix their little issue that's going to be a massive issue, especially in Pittsburgh. George Pickens and DK Metcalf, you can't just bring a stopgap quarterback in. You've got to bring in a guy that can tell those chuckleheads on the outside, hey, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, fall in line.
Does
Aaron still have that cachet?
now? I think he does.
Yeah.
Just because he's Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
But is that also a deal where Mike Tomlin, you doubled your crazy at receiver, you're going to quadruple your crazy at quarterback?
Yep. It's
I'm in.
Look, if you can handle Antonio Brown, you can handle these guys crazy. Because Antonio Brown is the combination of all three of them.
Well, and he had Le'Veon Bell there too. Yeah. You know, man. Well, the dominoes are continuing to fall. There's one team that has taken their young budding star and they said, we will fix the ills of last season. And Ben Johnson is doing it again. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, the Blazers have lost 3 straight and 4 of their last 5. A quick turnaround as they visit the Warriors in San Francisco tonight. DeAndre Ayton is out. Denny Avdia, Robert Williams III are questionable. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP. That is 2.2 on your antenna or Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12-point underdogs. The NFL's legal negotiating window has officially opened. A bunch of reported deals today. Commanders in agreement with former Jets defensive end Javon Kinlaw on a 3-year, $45 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. Buccaneers bringing back wide receiver Chris Godwin on a 3-year, $66 million deal. That's $44 million guaranteed. Buccaneers also bringing in defensive end Hassan Reddick for 1 year at $14 million. Patriots signing former Lions cornerback Carlton Davis to a 3-year, $60 million deal, but the Lions bringing in Jets cornerback DJ Reed at 3 years and $48 million with $32 million guaranteed. The Cardinals and defensive end Josh Sweat, 4 years at $76.4 million. The Patriots swoop in and give Eagles defensive tackle Milton Williams $26 million per after he was previously linked to the Panthers. The Colts signing former Vikings safety Cam Bynum, 4 years, $60 million. Titans signing former Steelers left tackle Dan Moore. That one is 4 years, $82 million with $50 million guaranteed. Former Oregon tight end Johnny Munt heading to the Jaguars, and the Rams bringing back quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Once you get your franchise quarterback, you better do everything you absolutely can to surround him with talent. And that is something that the Chicago Bears over the last week have done a really dang good job of. Ryan Poles, along with new head coach Ben Johnson, are starting to shape this roster in Chicago where Caleb Williams was touched up. He was sacked more than anybody else in the National Football League last year. He got a little happy feet and held on to the ball for way too long at times, forced throws, and they had a really bad offensive line, especially on the interior of the offensive line last year. The Bears have come out swinging over the last week. Just last week, they traded for guards Jonah Jackson from the Rams, Joe Thuney from the Chiefs, and then today they go out and they sign the best center available from the Atlanta Falcons, Drew Dahlman, and they they sign him to a deal, and they have completely revamped the interior of their offensive line.
No, it's a big deal. I mean, you get Thuney from the Chiefs, you get Jackson from the Rams, and deals that cost you, a 4th and a 6th round pick in this draft?
And they already have Darnell Wright, who they feel comfortable with that one tackle. Like, you can see the point of emphasis and where it is at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any kind of hard process to draw the line between the coach that they brought in. Look, they don't have the Lions offensive line, but Ben Johnson gets there and very clearly was like, hey, look, I'm really good at drawing stuff up, but our quarterback needs to have time in order to do these things. For me to get creative, we have to have protection, particularly in the middle of the line where, Caleb Williams could not step up. He wasn't beyond that. There was those concerns about Caleb Williams basically fighting against his nature because the Bears were telling him don't take off. And there was times, I want to say it was one of the PFF guys that highlighted it, that it looked like Caleb Williams in the middle of the season was stapled to the ground in the pocket, where you would see him like he should take off here, but they were just telling him, no, we don't want you to run. And it's like, why did you draft him? He is an improviser. He is a guy that can take off and run, and your offensive line is not giving him any opportunities, so let him have those.
I think we can just chalk it up to the Bears were bearing. They were doing bear things. Look, they've made really savvy moves.
Yes.
And it's not just the guys that you went out and you got, because this is something that the Bears actually have done in years past, and we see this all the time in free agency, is teams will go out and they will sign a guy, and the name is like, hey, I know that name. He's good. The scheme and style don't fit. When you look at Dahlman as a center who thrived in a inside zone scheme, he's going to be perfect with Ben Johnson.
Yes.
Like, he is going to be a guy that their running game is going to be seamless, and you need your center to be on the same page as your play caller as far as where's the mic, how are you setting your protections, especially when in the pass game, but in the run game, it is, all right, if we're a zone scheme, he's got to be the most detailed and dialed-in guy because he sets where the double teams come from and where they go to and how you're getting to the next level. It's huge. He's really damn good at it, and Ben Johnson needs that guy. And he had Ragnow up in Detroit and would always talk about that relationship and how smart he was. You also have a center that can help your young quarterback, too, in setting those protections all along the way. Drew Dahlman, really good signing.
Yes.
Joe Thuney, experienced guy who has very similar conceptual system to Ben Johnson coming from Kansas City. Good signing. Sean McVay, also very good system to be getting Jonah Jackson from. They're getting guys that you sit there and you say, all right, they're not just good players, but they've played in systems that will be easy for them to pick up with Ben Johnson. And you don't have to squint to say, yeah, I could see it working. It fits, and it fits right away.
I think you're just seeing this across the NFL with organizations that have been, to be blunt, dumb with a lot of their signings, whether it be the Raiders, whether it be the Bears. I mean, the Lions were this for years. And you're just seeing organizations be smarter about their front office hires their front office hires making sense with their coaching staffs, and their coaching staffs not trying to fit to what they have to their scheme, but bringing in the personnel that makes sense for their scheme. Where a lot of times I think the traditionalists in the NFL, for good or bad, just tried to make everybody fit what they did. And I think the new era of coaches in general they're more amenable to changing what they do, but they're more in tune with their front offices of having their front offices get the guys that they need to optimize their systems. There's this bridging of a gap from front office to coaching to personnel that you're just seeing just around the league now. It's a lot less. Don't get me wrong. There's just still plenty of square peg round holes, but you're seeing.
Well, it's amazing how effective you can be just in a 2-year cycle now of turning it around in the NFL. Because, I mean, you can sit there and you can say the Bears are a ways off. Well, the Bills and the Lions, they turned it around quickly.
Yeah,
and it can be in a
Commanders.
Snap of your fingers, and it can just be like, oh. Okay, and a lot of it starts with having a functional quarterback who's really good. But the Lions couldn't even get out of their own way with that for, a decade of Matthew Stafford
and Calvin Johnson.
But at the same time, you're starting to see these teams that are getting that dysfunction weeded out. It does not take that long for you to turn it around, and the Bears are that one team that's you're sitting there, you're going, you can see it now. Last year, it was, hey, we need to go get the flashy guys to help out our young quarterback. That was not the way. Now they're starting to do it from within, work inside out on your offensive line, and they've done that. They could knock this thing out of the park if they finish this offseason with Ashton Genty as the number 10 overall pick, right? Because then you're looking at a revamped offensive line, especially on the interior. You would have Genty, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet. Those are weapons commensurate with winning. And then it comes down to, all right, Caleb, now it's on you if you can't do it.
Yeah, and you wonder what, Keenan Allen's on the way out. He's free agent. What do they do to go replace that? I mean, it's not hard to replace, but do they go get a
Keenan Allen of last year? Not hard to replace.
But who do you go get? Do you go trade for Cooper Kupp? Do you?
No, I don't think you really need to.
But I'm saying if you're addressing all the other stuff right now, now you've got opportunities to go do other things.
But and I think that's that with what they have, you don't need to go and get another.
No,
right? Another is like the gravy on top.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I mean. By handling this stuff, now they can go look at other stuff.
You're okay. They need to go and just make sure their defense gets better at that.
Yeah.
Like if they were to get like a Genty type. Your offense is good enough to win a lot of football games. With DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, those are three guys that you can rely on to catch a football. Really damn good ones, too. And then you sit there, all right, we got you a young running back. We're solid there.
Offensive
then just
line.
Go make that defense nasty.
Yeah.
And Ben Johnson he's a really good play caller. Now he has an offensive line that I'm like, because that was the worry. I was like, dude, Ben Johnson, let's pump the brakes because he had the best offensive line in football. Everybody looks good as a play caller when your offensive line is that good. They're starting to get a better offensive line. Makes it a lot easier.
Do you see the Bears as a team that maybe looks at Trey Hendrickson? If they're going to make one splashy move?
Yeah. Maybe not, because they just went and got Deo Odengbo from Indy. They signed him. Again, that's one of the best free agent edge rushers that's out there right now. And when they got him, right? Maybe you do. Maybe you do.
That's what I'm saying. You've addressed so many things.
The Bengals, though, they're in such trouble, man.
Cheap. It's
such trouble.
That's the thing is, you look around the NFL right now, and the free agency frenzy has certainly started, but there's still a couple of big-time dudes in Hendrickson and Cooper Kupp that can have massive, massive impacts in the NFL.
Yeah.
Those guys they're out there.
The Bengals, though, when you said that, we're seeing it, and it's clear as day. how badly the Bengals have botched this thing. We'll get to that next. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Oh boy, the Cincinnati Bengals have screwed the pooch as every contract keeps getting finalized and pay keeps going up across the board. They've got long-term negotiations with Trey Hendrickson and Jamar Chase to settle.
Before we can get to that, there is some breaking news as it pertains to the Bengals. They have just signed defensive tackle T.J. Slayton, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, to bolster the interior of that defensive line.
They re-signed B.J. Hill earlier today too, which when he was done,
it was noticeable.
They were in trouble. But the fact that they have allowed both the Jamar Chase and Trey Hendrickson negotiations to go this long and make it this far
without restructuring Joe Burrow,
the absolute biggest bungling of this they could possibly have. Because think of this, just since last week, the market has been reset 3 different times. Highest paid non-quarterback has been rewritten twice by 2 guys that play the position that Trey Hendrickson does.
And Trey Hendrickson can say he's at least touching that level of those guys.
I mean, yeah, he led the league in sacks last year.
I mean, he's a dude.
And then you also had Josh Allen rewrite the market with the most guaranteed money in a deal, $250 million.
Ooh, doggy.
Good to be Josh Allen. Way to go. Hey, way to go, Josh Allen.
Just a guy from Wyoming.
Central Valley, California.
Oh, yes, from Central, yeah.
Central Valley, California.
Played was it 8-man football or 7-man football?
No, I think he was at an 11-man school.
You sure? Because
yeah.
it's a farming town.
Yeah, it was. I think it was still 11-man football, but it was a small little town there. But all 3 of those deals happened just over this past weekend, right? Mm-hmm. Think about where they could have been. Oh, I don't know, a year ago.
Yeah.
When you had these negotiations open up, and you could have just said, well, you know what, we're going to get it out of the way now. That's when the deals all of a sudden they start looking like bargains.
It's what the Philadelphia Eagles have been so good at. They sign guys a year early so that it gives them more tail room as the years progress.
And this is what the Eagles have that Bengals owned the Brown family won't do is 1, money in hand to make sure you can have this happen. And 2, they don't want to be paying down the road when everything that Philly does, it just kicks the can down the road a little bit further. But the Brown family just doesn't want to have a bunch of dead cap eventually, but that's also why you're not going to win a Super Bowl.
You have to.
It's what
you have to
literally
be
is how it works.
You have to be willing to pay to play.
Yeah.
You have a window. You've got the guy. If you want to be in the same class with the Bills, with the Chiefs in the AFC, you have to spend the money. And the Bills are a team that have. The Chiefs are a team that have. And if you're not going to do it, you're just not going to be a part of the club. It's that simple. And we probably won't get to it today. We'll just talk about it in Major League Baseball and the cheapness of owners and what that's doing to baseball right now at the bottom end and how Major League Baseball is getting involved. Does the NFL, do they ever give a damn enough? Because they just print money regardless of holding some of these owners accountable that just won't spend money?
Well, that's a problem. The thing with the NFL is you have to spend money. Like, there is no,
you
Oakland
can't get
days,
to that level.
There's no
cheap.
Oakland days or Pittsburgh Pirates. Like you literally cannot be that in the National Football League. So no, they won't. What the biggest problem that the NFL has is that in order to have guaranteed money in a contract, you have to have that money put into an escrow account. Mm-hmm. It has to be sitting there waiting.
Cash out.
So the Pagula family is putting $250 million away once pen goes to paper to Josh Allen. There's a lot of owners that don't have that kind of money.
The cash reserves, yes. What is it? Is it 60% that they need to put in there?
I don't know. I think it might be more than that. Maybe up front it's 60%, but you got, and that's the biggest issue, and that's why guaranteed money in the NFL has always been a really hard sticking point in negotiations, is because these owners are like, no, you can earn it, but if we're putting all this guaranteed money away, then we don't have it in hand.
No, you're right.
That's a
In
big
the
issue.
guarantee, they have to put every penny.
Yeah, but I think you have some time to do it. But every money has to be in an escrow account that is guaranteed, and that's a lot of cash. And that's like the big issue with the Brown family is like, all right, they'd already put a big chunk of cash away for Joe Burrow, putting cash away for Trey Hendrickson, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Like, that's where the broke boy owners continue to fail in the NFL. You have to spend money, though, to fill out your roster. So that's where you don't see the Pittsburgh Pirates or Oakland A's in the NFL, is because you are forced to spend money. It's just the guaranteed money is the separator between great franchises and the ones that
Are just okay.
wallowing in the wind. You
And
know?
it makes me wonder, selfishly about the Raiders, because the Raiders, I believe, are the most cash poor team in the league still.
I don't know, the Brown family in Cincinnati may be fighting you on that one. But as it is, the Bengals have really screwed this up. They could have gotten out in front of it. Now they're going to have to rewrite several markets with Jamar Chase and Trey Hendrickson, or trade Trey Hendrickson away and see kind of what the value on that return is going to look like in a few weeks, or hell, even a month or so. But they screwed up. I have a question though. I'd love to, the fan text line 503-864-6326 is the fan text line. Which organization do you believe will win a Super Bowl first? Bears? Bengals?
As it pertains, this is the list as of going into last year. Mike Brown is the only NFL owner worth less than $1 billion.
Yeah.
Then and that's 925. The Rooneys at 1.2. The Bears at 1.3 with what
McCaskey
was
family.
Virginia McCaskey. Interestingly enough, the Wilf family with the Vikings is at 1.3. I mean, you start to kind of see some trends here. Bidwell at 1.4. The Titans and the Strong family at $2 billion. The interesting one is the Lions with Sheila Hamp at $2 billion. But
So broke.
Mark Davis is right there at $2 billion.
So poor.
But here are your richest owners in sports in the NFL. The Walton family at 77. The big drop to the Hunt family at 25. Tepper at 20. Jody Allen at 20. Kroenke at 16.
Billion. This is all billion, by the way.
But I mean, like there's a very sizable gap
Yep.
of the $5 billion and up club. That's the McNairs, the Bartolos, Gail Benson, Pagula's almost at 7. Like, there's a pretty tight correlation between good teams and how much money they have.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, there's also ones that you read, though, that aren't necessarily the richest owners in the NFL.
No, the Vikings and Steelers that are functional.
What they do is they take their earnings and they put it back into the team.
Yes. It is the thing that they own.
Yeah.
Like, the Walton family, that's Walmart. That's why they have so much unbelievable amount of money.
Like, I don't know of, and I'm sure they have beautiful yachts, but I don't hear of like the Rooney family yacht parties that happen, right?
I mean, Robert Kraft plays poor, and he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's at $11.1 billion. He's in the top 10 richest.
Paper company.
Yeah.
He's a paperman. People forget that. They think that he was like Kraft cheese. No.
Which, I mean, it's
he's
easy
not
to
that Velveeta family.
It's easy to make that. It's kind of like you think of like the DuPont money.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, oh, you hear that name and you're like, oh yeah, it must come from that kind of deal.
From Jeff Gordon's race car.
Yeah, 100%.
That's not what it is?
No.
Okay.
Although I'm sure that printed a lot of money.
Yep. Yeah. He bought the parking lot of the stadium. And then he
Crafted?
Uh-huh.
Ah.
Because he knew that if he owned the parking lot, he could lowball the owners of the Patriots when they wanted to buy the team. So he's like, if you don't own the parking lot to the stadium, buying the stadium with a team, it doesn't make financial sense.
Yeah.
So he knew
because
that
the amount of revenue you get from that is insane.
he knew that the owners of the Patriots were in tough times financially. So he's like, I'll buy that parking lot from you. Bought the parking lot, and then they put the team up for sale. And once everybody started finding out that they didn't own the parking lot, he lowballed ownership, got the Patriots. Boom.
Hostile takeover of an NFL franchise.
Hell yeah. He was a season ticket holder.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. See, you could do that to the Portland Trailblazers. Anybody out there, just all you got to do is have enough money to buy the parking garage.
From the city.
Yeah, totally reasonable.
That's the problem, is the city owns those.
Well,
and let me tell you,
hot damn.
Those parking passes for a year, not cheap. Not cheap. I think they're like around $2,000.
Yes.
Per spot.
Hot damn. Yeah. All right, 503-864-6326. That is the fan text line. A lot of NFL free agency news, and we'll fill the gaps on anything that comes in. Last night, Blazers remembering the legend.
Indeed.
Bill Walton. It was Bill Walton night at the Blazer game against the Pistons. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Danny
guaranteed. Former Defensive Player of the Year Khalil Mack returning to the Chargers on a 1-year, $18 million deal. The Bears adding another offensive lineman, agreeing with center Drew Dahlman for 3 years and $42 million, $28 million guaranteed in that deal. The Broncos finalizing a contract with All-Pro safety Talanoa Hufanga for 3 years and up to $45 million. The Rams signing defensive tackle Poona Ford, 3 years, $30 million. And the Chiefs an offensive lineman Jalen Moore, 2 years and $30 million. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new black 1080 The Fan hoodie, as well as classic long and short sleeve tees. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com. This is Danny and Dusty.
It's not your problem, Doc. You don't have to mix up in this.
That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
I'm your huckleberry.
The Fan.
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Monday afternoon. Thanks for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours, whether it's on 1080 AM, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, twitch.tv/1080am The Fan, or youtube.com/1080am The Fan. Thank you. Party on, party people.
You can find us everywhere.
Hey, Blazers lost last night, and they're probably going to lose again tonight.
12-point dogs tonight.
Second of a back-to-back after a really long road trip, one game home, and then boom, down to the Bay Area tonight for the Golden State Warriors. But last night was Bill Walton night. It was cool to turn that game on and see all the tie-dye, and the tie-dye headbands were a nice little touch that the Blazers gave away. But Bill Walton night on the night, his son Luke was coaching for the Pistons. Really cool to honor the legend himself.
Yeah, they had a Grateful Dead tribute band play at halftime.
Awesome.
The crowd was very, very much into it.
Anybody spark up in the old, maybe that was a 300 level thing?
Yeah, you know what? It didn't get too loud in there. I will tell you, post-game, every home game, it gets loud in there. You can smell it every single game.
Really?
Every single game.
Huh.
Yeah.
Just people smoking weed in the arena? That's a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Been to a couple Dave Matthews Band concerts there, and yes, that is a thing.
Well, yeah, a Dave Matthews concert, a little bit different than the hometown team playing there 41 nights a year.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. No, it was a really cool night. The extended Walton family was in a suite. For those that don't know, Bill Walton, in his passing, in his will, last testament, final planning type stuff, stated that he did not want to have a funeral or a celebration of life or a tribute or anything of like. He said he didn't want to be the center of attention. So the Walton family, while put up on the board, they put the spotlight on him and say thank you for being here. They weren't front and center. They weren't speaking or anything like that. Luke was not made available and like did anything along those lines in respect to their
Dad's final wishes.
Yeah, which some people are like, I wish they would have done a little bit more. There is a reason why. Like,
I
had a couple people ask me, how was it last night? And I was like, it was really good. And they're like, well, it felt like it was good, but they could have done a little bit more. But it's like, no, Bill didn't want that. It's not what that. I will say he made that decision in March or May of last year when his health started to fade. Just kind of how he wanted to go about it, and they respected that. But I thought
which is so weird for a guy who always was the center of attention.
I mean,
but
I thought they did a really
cool.
good job. The Blazers staff up and down outside of the coaching staff and the front office all had tie-dye Blazers shirts on. And it was the old vertical text that used to say Blazers, but instead it said Walton with the 32. So like all of the camera crews and Todd Bosma and the game ops, and
that was cool to see.
Yeah, it was a very cool, subtle tribute, and basically every timeout through the first, I think, 18 minutes had some sort of Walton related thing. And Lionel Hollins, his friend and former teammate with the Portland Trail Blazers, won the title of the '77 team. Spoke for about 20 minutes pregame, and Lionel was really good. And one of the questions he was asked was, what do you miss most? And he just said, I miss my friend.
Yeah.
The night before, Walton's teammates gathered together and had a reunion and remembered their friend. And, we're 50 years removed from that title nearly. And look, man, they've lost a lot of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's nice that Lionel's still around and Bobby Gross is still around, but Mo's not around. David Lucas, Maurice Lucas' son, did the Jamba Juice competition where they shoot 3 free throws and win Jamba Juice for the arena kind of deal. And I thought it was cool because David went out there wearing his dad's old shooting shirt.
Oh, cool.
I was like, that's for those also that don't know, Luke Walton is named for Maurice Lucas. That Maurice Lucas was one of Bill's best friends.
Kind of tight.
I mean, it was a bond that was unbreakable to the point of naming his son after him. And I thought the Blazers hit all the right notes in doing enough, but respecting the family's wishes and Bill's final wishes.
Yeah.
It was just a really, really cool night. And the headbands ruled.
The headbands were awesome.
Look, they even I put
Good
mine
touch.
on for the post game show. It may have cut off the blood flow to my head because I have an enormous noggin. If you wear a 7 or 5/8 or larger hat, or I should say a 7 3/4, the headband's gonna cut off blood flow. But other than that,
it was a good job by the Blazers.
yeah.
Then.
All in all,
I was wondering why they weren't making Luke like a bigger deal.
Yeah.
And
that's why I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that.
Yeah,
it wasn't the Blazers like cheapening out or going short on this.
No.
These were Bill's wishes.
should have put out a press release that says I don't want this. And just Bill Walton. And be like, we're doing it anyway, damn it.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I thought they did a really good job on the broadcast of highlighting Bill Walton, his importance, man, and the kind of legacy he has. But I mean, it was all about the teammates, and he always talked about that. Like it was always about the teammates, the teammates. Guys in the NBA, they're still close, and guys in professional sports are close. It was a different world back then.
Yeah,
with how close they were, because guys now in professional sports are they don't understand. People don't understand what it's like to be, a millionaire, right? It was people don't understand what we're doing.
Yeah.
Back then.
Again, Lionel Hollins made a reference to, and I thought that was kind of the touch point of how important that team was to this city. There was some, let me talk my S from Lionel Hollins, and he backed all of it up of look, this was a team that, until, we came together was on solid footing. It was an outpost in the Northwest, way away from everything. And we know that there were times that, this organization may have gotten moved. That was a real thing. Paul Allen and coming in and purchasing the franchise was what stopped any of that talk. But there was all of this stuff around it. And he goes, we were responsible for Blazer Mania.
Yep.
We were responsible for Rip City. I mean, during the 77 title run, they were running closed circuit broadcasts of the title run in theaters because they were still tape delayed. It wasn't until 83 with Magic and Bird that the NBA went live. But the most important features of this franchise were brought together in that title team. Not just winning the title, but it's Bill Walton, it's Maurice Lucas, it's Lionel Hollins, it's Bob. Look, the Blazers have retired too many numbers. But they've retired those numbers because of how important that team was.
Yeah.
And not just the title, but everything that came out of it with Rip City from Sean's and the energy that came out of that team when they started doing the barnstorming tours around the state of Oregon. And he talked about how, we became the Pied Pipers. We would go from one school to another on these trips in the summertime, and the kids from the school we visited in the morning would be at the next school in the afternoon, and then the next school on the later that night. It took over the state, and people still talk about it. And he goes, the sellout streak started with us. The sellout streak started with us,
and it ended far before the Blazers acknowledged it ended.
Yeah, it ended in 91. That's. But I mean, they went 20 years he talked about, you had parents willing their season tickets to their kids. And that's the kind of thing. I think the only other place in sports where you found that kind of relationship where it dominated everything for so long is the Green Bay Packers.
Well, I mean, like that actually happens. Willing your season tickets.
No, I'm not talking about the willing, but I'm talking about like the bond that was there in a small town.
No,
just outpost.
It was different.
It was different. It was just so different. This isn't New York. This isn't LA. It's not Chicago. It's not any Texas team. It's a small town. Because remember in Portland back in the 70s, man, that's an outpost.
And the only reason why they won it is because the ABA-NBA merger.
Yeah. You get Mo and you draft Bill.
Maurice Lucas and Bill Walton got teamed up because of the ABA-NBA merger. And when Maurice Lucas joined the team, it changed. Mm-hmm. Everybody says it changed.
And you talk about Bill and, the pantheon of Blazers greats. And my co-host, Joe Simons, on Rip City Wrap-Up, he goes, I'm never going to begrudge, and I hold the same view. If you think Bill Walton is the greatest Trailblazer of all time, you can absolutely say that, regardless of how short his time was here. He is the only player to win an NBA Finals, a Finals MVP, and an MVP.
Pretty significant.
I mean, how many organizations have that guy? It's a short list, man. It's a short list.
The Bulls?
I mean,
the Lakers?
Yeah, Celtics.
It's
generational.
Rockets.
It's generational teams.
Yeah.
Generational franchises. It's a short list, man. So I thought the entire night was very cool. Blazers handled it incredibly well. Unfortunately, they fall to the Pistons 119-112 in what was one of the worst officiated games I think I've ever seen in person.
Oh, you need to go to more like low level.
Oh no, NBA games. NBA games. Yeah, and I'm not saying that like they screwed over the Blazers. It was just atrocious for both teams.
Just clunky, start and stoppy. Yeah.
Just god awful. I talked to a couple Pistons players and coaches, a couple Blazers players and coaches. How do you think that game was officiated? And I got a lot of side eye.
Well, yeah, it was not good.
No, everybody was like, it was trash.
Yeah. Well, one more night tonight. Blazers only got 17 more.
Yeah, 17 more games, man, and 7 of those next 8, including tonight, are at home.
Oh, okay.
So they go off that brutal 9 games in 9 different cities, and then they get 7 straight at home.
Okay. Well, I didn't even care about the game. I was just watching some Bill Walton content last night. And Cade Cunningham's really fun.
Oh, Cade Cunningham's really good. And tell you what, though, that Pistons team, they are going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
They really are. They really are. All right, another trade gone down in the National Football League and more news on the free agency front. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Check out
All right, we've got a trade in the National Football League.
Big in size and big in stature.
Big in penalties, too. Laramie Tunsil has been traded from the Houston Texans to the Washington Commanders. All right. There's been a lot of reporting and corrections of reporting on the compensation for Laramie Tunsil, but we feel that we've got it nailed down here. So it'll be Laramie Tunsil and a 4th-round pick this year, correct? Right?
I'm trying to find it right here.
Oh,
I just had it.
It is Laramie Tunsil and a 4th-round pick this year because it was initially reported that it was Laramie Tunsil and then a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th-round pick.
Here's the capital.
That did not sound correct.
Well,
it is not correct.
Here's the capital that the Texans will receive from the Commanders: 2025 3rd, 2025 7th, and then a 2026 2nd and 4th.
Yeah,
the Commanders will receive Laramie Tunsil and a 2025 4th. That's a lot of capital, man.
I can't believe that they are giving up a 2nd and a 3rd to get Laramie Tunsil, but they get a 4th-round pick this year, and next year they have to deal a 4th-round pick out of there. But whatever, it's a lot of money, but it also, you have a quarterback, you have salary cap space, go spend that money, protect that quarterback. Laramie Tunsil is a phenomenal offensive lineman. He's also the most penalized player in the National Football League last year.
Yep, we talked about this, Thursday? He had 17 penalties?
That guy gets penalized all the time. A lot of pre-snap. I mean, it's not a great year.
Do you think there's a direct causation, correlation, gas mask bong, pre-snap penalties?
No. He'd be slow off the line.
Well, I'm just saying...
slow reaction time.
Or maybe not knowing reactions.
Yeah. I don't know. He's dominant, though, on the interior. It's another savvy move by Adam Peters, who just continually... If you look at what Washington continues to do, man, they have
going for it.
Gotten better at every single turn. Big swings... They've missed on a few, but they're connecting on a whole hell of a lot more. And that is what we talk about with the Blazers, right? And Blazer fandom. Is that it's make the damn big swing. Because if you miss, but you're going to at least connect on a few of them. And just try to give these fans hope. If you are a Washington Commanders fan, you have got to be thrilled with Adam Peters, with Dan Quinn, with the direction of the organization, because you have your quarterback, and now you're pushing all of those chips right to the middle of the table and say, no, we are going to be in to win this damn thing for years to come. And this is a big move, man, going in and getting a guy like Laramie Tunsil. You're going to be giving up some of that draft capital, which means you're giving up a lot of the young, cheap talent that will be coming in over the next 2 years. But the window's open. Go get it now.
I mean, you go get Debo to pair alongside Scary Terry. You reinforce your offensive line, your quarterback. You're trying to protect against that sophomore slump.
All of these are ballsy moves, though.
They are. But look, this is what we see with new ownership.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, you see this every time. More often than not, it doesn't work out in their favor. And look, Tunsil's a good player. Despite all of the penalties, he is a good player. But you are taking risk, and this feels like this isn't the Suns trading for Bradley Beal. This is more like the Suns trading for Kevin Durant, in the sense of you're trading for a really good player, but the capital you gave up to do it might be a little bit much.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If the Suns could have it back, they obviously wouldn't do the Beal deal. But I think they would reconsider the KD deal, because Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, those picks, this is a lot of draft capital.
Oh, no doubt about it.
A real tangible, they finished in the NFC title game, so their pick is further back. But that's real capital.
It is. It is. But they also went and they got Javon Kinlaw today too. All of these moves
They're
are
making moves.
risky because there's injury risk, obviously, in all of them. But I'm looking up right now, and right as I was going to say it, the biggest boom or bust signing so far, it's not Sam Darnold to Seattle. It's not any of them. It's DJ Reed to Detroit.
Yeah.
DJ Reed is regarded as the best man-to-man corner in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The Detroit Lions play the most man-to-man of any team in the NFL, or at least they did last year with Aaron Glenn. They're probably going to be just as aggressive. They were also the most injured defense in the league, and it wasn't even close.
They lost both depth spots of their secondary going into the playoffs.
DJ Reed is injury prone.
Yep.
And so, if it works out, the Detroit Lions just got even better in their secondary. If it doesn't, it's going to be the same thing as this past year where the Detroit Lions lose in a playoff game 52-48.
The flip side of this is,
boom or bust.
Would you rather go for Darius Slay, who went to, Pittsburgh?
Yeah. I mean, what do you mean? He's good.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. As far as if you're going to make a big move,
somebody who's just older.
Yeah, I think those were the two guys you're probably looking at.
Yeah, I would have liked either of them.
Yeah.
I am pro good corners.
Yeah. I mean, bringing Slay back to Detroit. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't have been opposed to it, but no, I think it's a good pickup by both teams. Steelers have been very active today,
which is weird.
Well, over this entire weekend, it is.
Them being this active in free agency is not a typical.
I think it's gotten through. I think the Mike Tomlin conversations have finally gotten through of we've talked about this. Mike Tomlin is a good enough coach to have you relevant every single year. Their roster is good enough to compete every year, but not compete for a title.
Yeah.
They need to get better in some way, shape, or form. Now, you're seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers be aggressive on multiple fronts, but look, I don't care if it's Russell Wilson, if it's Aaron Rodgers, I don't care. The sustainability at quarterback is not going to be there.
No.
They need to have a better quarterback play, and they are so good, they'll never be in contention to get a good quarterback.
You have to hit the home run in that mid-draft, which is interesting with them giving up a second-round pick to go get DK Metcalf.
Yep.
It just kind of we'll talk about that trade here in a little bit, just as kind of the capital that went out and the deal that he signed. But the Steelers, again, I think around the NFL, there's a lot of really interesting moves happening, and we haven't even talked about the other wide receiver that they're flashing up right now, Devontae Adams. So we'll get to that and more. But first, it's the worst day on the web, and we haven't taken a trip to Florida in a while. This one's just off the top of my head was just funny. Assault with a Pringles can.
Oh.
Of all the things that you can use
What's
as a
hot?
weapon.
You can't stop.
God dang it, you took my line. That's Jeff Russ with the SportsCenter update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on the Fan, the Blazers have lost 3 straight and 4 of their last 5. A quick turnaround as they visit the Warriors in San Francisco tonight. DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams III both out. Jeremy Grant doubtful, and Denny Avdia is questionable. It's a 7 o'clock tip on KUNP. Channel 2.2 on your antenna or Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12.5-point dogs. Over in the NFL, the NFL's legal negotiating window for free agency has opened. It's been a busy day. The Commanders in agreement with defensive end Javon Kinlaw on a 3-year, $45 million deal, $30 million guaranteed. Buccaneers bringing back wide receiver Chris Godwin on a 3-year, $66 million deal with $44 million guaranteed. Buccaneers also bringing in defensive end Hassan Reddick for 1 year, $14 million. The Patriots signing former Lions cornerback Carlton Davis to a 3-year, $60 million deal, but those Lions bringing in Jets cornerback DJ Reed at 3 years and $48 million. with $32 million guaranteed. Cardinals and defensive end Josh Sweat, 4 years at $76.4 million. The Patriots swoop in and give defensive tackle Milton Williams $26 million per year after he was previously linked to the Panthers. The Colts signing safety Cam Bynum for 4 years, $60 million. The Titans and left tackle Dan Moore, 4 years, $82 million with $50 million guaranteed. The Bears and Pro Bowl defensive tackle Grady Jarrett for 3 years and $43.5 million. Former Oregon tight end Johnny Munt heading to the Jaguars, and the Rams bringing back quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Hot Corner, now in its new time. Tuesdays at 7 after Isaac and Sue on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. It's time for today's worst day on the web. with Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
Weirdly enough, it's been a little while since we made a trip to Florida Man, or in this case, Florida woman. A woman in Orlando was arrested after attacking a man on Thursday. Her weapon of choice, a Pringles can.
All right. How many did he take?
Just one, but she struck him.
She took one? She took one?
No,
Or he took one?
Yeah, he took one.
All right, yeah, don't blame her.
The full can struck him in the eye and took off running.
I'm not, like, if I'm on this jury, I'm just letting you know. Probably going to let her off. You don't steal somebody's Pringles.
The victim took a pretty significant cut to his right eyebrow and below his eye.
Deserved it.
Which means he definitely caught the metal side of the can.
Yeah. Yeah.
The soft plastic top did not.
No, you got the metal ring on both sides, so he could have gotten either way. But I feel like she was swinging with the plastic lid side down and popped him real good right on that eye. Good for her. How much meth was involved in this? Because there's got to be something else that kind of leads to this.
Well, the witness was a man who was lying down against the side of the building.
All right.
So your impartial witness was probably on meth.
Look, I'm seeing some wrinkles here in the defense. I'm seeing that you can.
Are you
get through
sure
this.
that's what you saw?
Are you really sure?
What state were you in?
Right. And we're gonna throw some doubt in there. The big one is that he did steal a damn Pringles chip. Once you pop, you can't stop.
The Pringles can was found with the assaulter after she was located and arrested. She's been charged with aggravated battery.
When is the last time you bought Pringles?
So long ago, I can't remember.
Yeah, honestly, that is a. I remember loving Pringles. I remember getting Pringles as a child. I cannot tell you the last time that I bought Pringles.
I'm trying to find the because you can. There's data on everything. Apparently, according to one of the companies that's out there that tracks this stuff, approximately 2.3 billion cans of Pringles are sold each year worldwide. 2.3 billion cans of Pringles.
All right. Now, how many of those cans of Pringles are sold to people over the age of 18? That's the information that I want to know. Because I would venture to guess that for whatever reason, it's the kids buying the Pringles. I have not bought, and I like Pringles, which is the damnedest thing. Sour cream and onion Pringles, elite.
Did you know that there are market-specific Pringles? Like McDonald's international menu kind of deal?
No.
Like they have like Indian spice Pringles.
Oh.
In India?
Really?
Yeah. And there's even some in the U.S.
All right.
There's like a Southern barbecue one in the South. Yeah.
And they don't sell them over here. One of the greatest chips that went, it was a one-off, and they did it another time. Tim's Cascade will do runs of chips, and they're like unique flavors. I cannot tell you why. It sounds disgusting. This is probably why they only had one. But it was actually really good chips. They had a Coney Island Tim's Cascade chip.
Ooh,
delicious.
That sounds like a banger.
But yeah, it's also like, how do you describe the taste of it to somebody? You don't want to be like, yeah, it's a hot dog flavored chip, because everybody's like, that sounds gross.
Not to be confused with the hot dog flavored water of Limp Bizkit.
That's right. It was not. It was really good. It was. I can't describe the taste to you. It had a little mustard kick to it. Had almost like a little chili flavor to it too. But it was an unbelievably good chip.
A great little seasoning batch
with a little onion. Yeah, it was good.
See if you can guess the country that these Pringles come from.
Yeah,
and I'm going to name off a bunch here. Mm-hmm. And don't get too hasty and think, oh, I know what this is. I'm giving you a hint. It's not what you think it is right off the gate.
All right.
Rice fusion Malaysian red curry. Rice fusion Japanese barbecue teriyaki. rice fusion Indian chicken tikka masala, spring onion, salt and pepper, ketchup, tortilla paprika mexicana, tortilla
Is this all the same
fiery
country?
chili. This is all in one country. Grilled paprika, classic paprika, sweet paprika, sizzling extra hot cheese and chili, sizzling spicy barbecue, cheese and onion, hot and spicy, Texas barbecue, salt and vinegar, mental. I don't know what that is. Sour cream and onion and original.
You say mental?
E-mental.
E-mental.
I don't
I'm
know
gonna
what that
go with
is.
South Korea on that.
So far off. Germany.
North Korea. Oh. Oh, really?
Germany. And they have the
Wow.
tortilla el
right.
nacho cheese as well.
Huh. And those are just Pringles?
Those are all just the Pringles flavors available along with
Ah,
ketchup,
damn.
salt and pepper, spring onion, pizza, and hot and spicy.
Oh, speaking of ketchup, there's a Lay's one. It's a limited edition one, and apparently it's the most popular flavor in Canada. It's called All Dressed, and it's kind of a ketchupy,
Yeah,
tangy,
I've seen that.
vinegary. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
They're good.
weirdly enough,
You get them like you smuggle them across the border from
somebody
Canada?
did. We have them in the break room at K2.
Yeah, no, because they've been.
I literally just tried them
It's a
last
limited
week.
edition thing. They lasted like a year ago or so, but
Yeah.
they're back in the stores now for a bit. And
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I ordered a sandwich and I didn't have any chips. And I was like, I bet you there's some chips in the break room. And I went for my old standby salt and vinegar, but I saw the all dressed and I was like, you know what? Let's give this a shot.
Yeah. They've also got a sweet and spicy honey now too, which is also delightful.
Available in Russia, roast beef and mustard and crab.
Gross, dude.
Well, look, man, I'm not kidding. They have some crazy flavors in here that you're just like, huh?
I think this is a good point. Is like Pringles may have gotten just overwhelmed by the kettle chip infusion that we've had. We have so many
yeah.
kettle chip options now, like Tim's, like, kettle chips, that the thing about Pringles was that they were different than just normal corn tortilla chips or a flavored corn tortilla chip. And so you wanted something a little change up there. Well, now we have so many different change ups. I think that the round can is just gone. Like that was, we don't want the round can anymore. So you can't do it. You can't do it.
But then how can you get your hand stuck in it?
I know. That never happened to me. Not a once.
Not once.
Not a once.
Got tiny hands.
Well, no, you just pour them down the tube.
Oh,
I mean,
is that like the IQ test?
I think it is. Did you fail it?
No, I got tiny hands. I never had to worry about it.
Oh. All right.
Big feet, small hands, man. I'm like Mr. Potato Head. But that's your Pringles in Florida update. Coming up next, there's a lot of deals around the NFL.
Emmental is a Swiss hard cheese, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was thinking like Emmentaler. That's what hit my head first was Emmentaler, but
Emmental.
we didn't get all the way
That's
right
probably
there.
what it is.
All right.
Okay. See,
there you
I
go.
literally just never seen it
Bum, bum,
As-
bum.
that way. But there's one deal in the NFL that we haven't talked about yet. The highest paid DB in NFL history has some eyebrows being raised as the DB market has been reset. We'll get to that and more here on Danny Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Markets around the NFL are being reset. Quarterback position, non-quarterback position, and along those same lines, the defensive back market. J.C. Horn is now the highest paid defensive back in all of football. And J.C. Horn is a good player, but 4 years, $100 million with $70 million guaranteed has me scratching my head more than a little bit.
Well, okay. He's young. He's 24. He's one of theirs. But the corner is such a difficult position to be like, hey, this guy is elite. Because you know what the most elite guys are? Guys that don't get thrown on.
Yeah.
Like, people will try to bring up like, hey, look at the interceptions. If you have a high interception rate, that means a quarterback is trying to go at you.
It's the digs of it all.
The Travion Diggs, yeah. But if you have, they'd be like, well, he's got a low completion percentage rate. It's like, well, again, more times somebody throws at you, the fewer opportunities that you got, right? Or the more opportunities you have to bat a ball down. It's like, if you have no stats, it's good.
It's the Deion Sanders, Charles Woodson,
take a damn part of the field away.
It's gone. And I think there's two guys in the NFL you can say do that right now. In Sauce Gardner when he's healthy, and Patrick Surtain.
Yep.
Those are the two guys who go, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Just put your second, third wide receivers on that side of the field, and that's what you live with, man. J.C. Horn's good, but that's a deal that we talk about the deals in the NFL and it making sense and being a functional organization and all that kind of stuff. This is one of those deals. Yeah, you pay to keep your own when they're good. I can see that with the Raiders and Max Crosby. If you're the Browns and Myles Garrett, if you have arguably one of the top three players at their position, you can make that argument.
Here's the thing with J.C. Horn, though, is that being a young guy, again, getting out ahead of a deal.
Sure.
Right? You're a bad organization.
Does it look better?
Hard to keep guys there. He is I believe he's a Carolina guy.
Yeah, he's from South Carolina.
So he's somebody that you want to keep in the area, in the region. They haven't really done enough to, one, attract free agents because their ownership is seen across the league as a joke. And also, they haven't drafted well enough to be paying a bunch of guys. So they're in a really interesting spot where if you have a guy who wants to be there, you may have to overpay to keep him too, right? And J.C. Horn has been one of their picks that they have knocked it out of the park with. Like, is he the best corner in the NFL? No, I don't. I think we can all agree. J.C. Horn is not the best corner in the NFL, full stop. He's getting paid like it. Now, you have to pay a little bit more to keep a guy. He is one of yours. I think that's kind of where we see this deal coming from. And it's always the next guy up is the next one to get a big payday, and J.C. Horn is just kind of falling into that mold right in front of our eyes. So it was a surprise to me, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a surprise to everybody.
Everybody's gonna look around like, damn, J.C. Horn getting that kind of money?
But he's young, he's good, and they want to keep him. They need to keep him.
You need to keep somebody good because, my God, you look at over the last couple of years, whether it's been Cam Newton cycling out, trading away Brian Burns and Christian McCaffrey. It's like, I guess you got to keep somebody.
We can also say, though, that one thing that has kind of been highlighted in this free agent class is the fact that teams are actually putting together really good deals, favorable to their team. And it's not like it's almost like a handshake agreement of guys saying, yeah, we understand what our value is. And the team's like, we're not going to lowball you, but we're not going to overpay you too. I mean, we're seeing that a little bit. And J.C. Horn might be that guy, but there's a lot of very reasonable contracts that have been dished out today. And that is the surprising part, is because usually it's like this flurry of moves come in and you're like, whoa, what are they doing? Like, and it's usually the teams that have the most salary cap space. But
The Raiders and the Patriots haven't been throwing money around.
no, well,
There's-
the Raiders' salary cap space went to one Max Crosby.
you're not wrong. But there's a guy, I'm forgetting his name. There's a guy in the NFL who's like the salary cap guru, much like Bobby Marks. It didn't work in a front office, but he's just been doing it for like a decade. He said something along the lines of, if you look around the league right now, with how much cash is still out there, all the guys that rush to sign deals are probably not in a good spot because there's still a ton of cash out there. And if you are patient, you might find yourself getting a bigger deal because teams are going to look around and go, crap, we got to spend some money. Let's take a look at where this stuff goes.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of moves, but none of the moves are really like, oh, except for this J.C. Horn one that is a little bit out there. But that's the anomaly. But you can also explain yourself to how the Carolina Panthers got there, how J.C. Horn got there, because you got older guys re-signing in places, right?
Yeah, Khalil Mack signed for a 1 year, $18 million to stay with the Chargers.
It's not an egregious deal.
No, not at all.
Not an egregious deal.
Good business by the Chargers.
It kind of appears that Joey Bosa is going to be doing the same thing up in San Francisco, is what the rumor was over the weekend, right? Like, if that happens and you're going, okay, these guys, there's like an awareness that's been growing. It's crazy. What is happening?
We were talking about, again,
what is happening?
There's this bridge that is being this gap that's being bridged around the NFL.
Yeah.
Of the guys are just understanding, both front offices and players and agents alike. And it feels like there's a lot more movement in a sense, but sensible movement.
Yeah, and like along these lines, I think where a lot of it starts is that smart organizations are drafting really well, and they're signing players to extensions before we even get to this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we can both agree. I think we both agree. Patrick Surtain II is the best corner in the NFL. Yeah. He's already locked up.
They signed him last year.
He's already locked up. They don't have to worry about this, and now they're going buckets.
Yeah, and now you've got the best corner in the NFL under the price point of the most expensive corner in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That is a win in a front office's book.
Take notes, Bengals.
It's like letting the old adage of letting a guy get to that and then letting the market dictate. It's gonna bite you now.
You make that market, baby.
It's gonna bite you, and sometimes just paying the freight up front is the better idea. Coming up next, speaking of paying the freight, what's the plan in Seattle? They've got a new quarterback, and they've got to replace their wide receiver room outside of JSN. There's a lot going on up there. We'll dive into that and the resetting of the quarterback market and the carousel on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
Live from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. A Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers have lost 4 of their last 5 after a last night to the Pistons. It's a quick turnaround as they visit the Warriors in San Francisco tonight. DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams III are both out. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Denny Avdia is questionable, though. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP. That is 2.2 on your antenna or Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12.5-point dogs. Matisse Thybulle has been assigned to the Rip City Remix for return to court conditioning. He will practice but will not play in a game for the Remix. Plenty of NFL deals as NFL free agency began this morning. Seahawks signing quarterback Sam Darnold for 3 years, $100.5 million with $55 million guaranteed. The move reunites him with offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, with whom he previously worked in San Francisco. The Jets signing quarterback Justin Fields to a 2-year, $40 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. The Texans trading a five-time Pro Bowler Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders. Panthers making J.C. Horn the highest-paid defensive back in league history. 4 years, $100 million with $70 million guaranteed. Former Defensive Player of the Year Khalil Mack returning to the Chargers on a 1-year, $18 million deal. The Bears adding another offensive lineman, agreeing with center Drew Dahlman for 3 years and $42 million, $28 million guaranteed. Broncos finalizing a deal with All-Pro safety Talanoa Hufanga for 3 years and up to $45 million. The Rams sign defensive tackle Poona Ford for 3 years and $30 million. And the Chiefs signing offensive lineman Jalen Moore, 2 years and $30 million. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Do it every morning. Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on Portland's Sports Leader. 1080 The Fan. Danny Meringue.
I found 2 empty bottles of a particularly decent Chateau Noir Bordeaux 57 in your rubbish.
Dusty Hera.
You went through my garbage?
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app.
I find it particularly offensive that you use them to wash down an order from something called Macho Taco.
And Portland's Sports Leader. 1080
I would never drink a Bordeaux with a Macho Taco.
The Fan.
It was a burrito machisimo.
Danny and Dusty on a Monday afternoon, whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080 in the fan or twitch.tv/1080 in the fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us on this wonderful, wonderful Monday. And it's back, ladies and gentlemen. If you do want to hang out with us, our annual basketball party is back. George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law presents Fan Madness Thursday and Friday, March 20th and 21st at the Stadium Sports Bar and A&A Sportsbook. We will be broadcasting live. Dirt and Sprague. I'd say Dusty and I, but it will be Danny and guests because old Duster's here.
Going to Mexico.
Going to Mexico. You boys want to go to Mexico? Isaac and Souk at the area's top location for the 2 best days of tournament basketball.
And I love that. I love this day more than anything.
Days.
Yes.
It's look, I'm staying the night up there. I'm having a grand old time. I am not making that trek from Ridgefield to Newburgh multiple times.
It's so much fun.
It is. It is an absolute blast. We have a bunch of P1s, basketball sickos.
Yeah.
We park up at the bar, we eat food, we drink drinks, and we throw money around.
Last year was hanging out with some guy from Maryland who I don't even know why he was there. He found his way out there and he was like, I just moved here. And it was like, yes.
Let's
and
do this.
He was on a heater.
Yeah, we live and die with some crazy covers. We had some that came down to the literal final shots of the game.
Yeah, and anytime you have, West Coast teams or local teams in it, whether it's, the Zags last year was Oregon in that South Carolina game, when the whole place is living and dying on a close finish, it's the best.
It's just when you get the guy next to you. We had a guy who was against us on our tickets, and we wrote like, we're rooting for you, but we're not rooting for you.
The best is when you get the West Coast teams, or you get the Cinderella, right? Like Fairleigh Dickinson, like those ones are so damn fun when the whole place erupts. Come down, it's worth it. Take the day off. You want it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this.
It's a great time. Fad Madness is also brought to you by Coors Light and video only. Make every buzzer beater, Bracket Buster, and Cinderella Run mean more at the A Sportsbook. Join us for Fan Madness, where you can find more info at 1080thefan.com. We will dive into that later this week as bracketology is going to heat up this week in NCAA tournament basketball, the tournament matchups, conference tournament play.
I was reading that there's some of the bracketologists have now, because there was carnage this past week in the top 25.
Oh, God, yeah.
And there, I'm looking right now. It's Joe Lenardi still has Oregon as a 5 seed.
And they were flirting with a first-round matchup with Drake, which was terrifying.
There are brackets that are coming out now that have them moving up to as high as a 4. I mean, the conference tournament weekend is gonna mean a whole lot.
It's gonna dictate a lot of seeding.
Oregon plays Indiana, a 9 a.m. Pacific game. That is so damn early.
Brutal.
But they play Indiana, and then the next game is winner goes and plays Michigan State. Like, those are massive matchups for what this seeding is going to look like.
Had a nice little dust up at Michigan State, Michigan this weekend too.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I mean, Michigan State beat the brakes off of them, but...
And, oh, no way.
Yeah.
Michigan having a problem with a rival at the end of a game?
No, at the middle of a field or court.
No way.
Shocking. But we'll dive into college basketball a ton over the next couple of days as conference championships are decided. Speaking of what's being decided in Seattle is it is a changing of the guard. DK Metcalf traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a second-round pick. Geno Smith traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for the Jets' third-round pick this year. And Sam Darnold signed by the Seattle Seahawks to a 3-year, $100.5 million deal with $55 million guaranteed. It is the big-time changeover in Seattle and the direction that they are now going to go.
Yeah, it is. And look, Sam Darnold going to a place that doesn't have a litany of weapons. The questions are being asked, and it has my attention. They need to revamp and rework the interior of their offensive line. We know that. They need to add another weapon. You have Sam Darnold, but though on an affordable deal. Like, we were talking about what the market will look like for Sam Darnold. Those last 2 games of the season cost him about anywhere between $10 to $15 million per year. But if you're Seattle, that is a workable number.
Yeah.
It's you didn't overpay for him. You know exactly what you are doing. You are bridging to a new world where hopefully you can get another quarterback down the line. He is young, so if he does pop and you do build the right way, you can continue to just moving it down the road and in extending him out. It is fair for Seattle. I think it's fair to Sam Darnold because you're looking at what, $33 million a year?
Mm-hmm.
On average over those 3 years, you're okay with that. You're not paying him $40 to $45 million per season, and so it makes sense in that regard. You got a lot more work to do, and we're gonna see where they get. There are big questions with Darnold, though. The finances are not one of them.
Does the success that the Seahawks had in the revitalization of Geno Smith factor into the decision making of going and getting another journeyman quarterback who maybe has some of the markers that you saw from Geno Smith? Maybe not in the sense of like getting too high on your own supply, but like, hey, this is the kind of quarterback that we've shown that we can redeem in a sense.
Yeah, you're backed into a corner more than anything else.
You are,
I think. Yeah,
but you get draft capital. Look, I want to give the Seahawks credit on the DK deal. I did not think they would be able to get a second-round pick outside of maybe a team like the Chargers.
Yeah.
Definitely did not expect the Steelers, of all teams, to expend real draft capital for DK.
I can't believe the Steelers said, we'll give you the 2 and the $30 million per year.
I did not think that was going to happen.
Yeah. But the 2 I get that because he is a receiver that is still in his prime and he's really good. But the fit in Pittsburgh was an interesting one because you got the deep shots covered. Mm-hmm. You don't have anybody to give either one of George Pickens or DK Metcalf the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's a massive concern if I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But they went and they said, all right, if we're going to make a charge, we need explosive athletes on the outside. Their defense, they're going to be really good on the defensive side of the ball. They always have been. They still have talent coming back. They need to figure out the explosiveness of their offense. Not still thrilled with, if you're going to have a receiver to go with Arthur Smith's play calling style, sure, explosive targets because it's a play action based team where you're going to take shots over the top. But if they really do go the route of Aaron Rodgers, it's not Arthur Smith's offense.
No, it's Aaron Rodgers' offense.
Because we know this about Aaron. He's not going to be a guy who is going to be a dog that learns new tricks. No. He's an old dog. He's going to play exactly how he wants to play.
Which he does like to base it off play action. That's something that he has. And also a deep throw kind of guy. And
his best years have been that way.
Yes.
But where do they thrive underneath is going to be the big question. And look, Pittsburgh, you've got some questions to answer. I think Seattle is starting to answer theirs, though, in the direction that they want to go. And if you are a Seahawks fan, look, be cautious, but be cautiously optimistic that, look, Mike McDonald is going to have a defense-first team. They are going to want to run the football first. It is a Clint Kubiak offense now, and you're going to run outside zone. You're going to run a lot of play action and boot off of that outside zone, and your passing game is going to be quick strike. You got Noah Fant, you got JSN, you have running backs. If they can stay healthy, you can move forward and say, we're going to be ball control, kind of a more methodical old style of play.
When you do the case study for Sam Darnold, because this front offices in general, when they're going to make a transaction like this, you ask yourself, of course, what's the best possible outcome? But you also ask yourself what the worst possible outcome is. How tight do you think that window is versus best versus worst? Do you think that Jets Darnold is still on the table, or is
yes? We saw against
the final two games of the
final
season.
2 games. He still saw some ghosts, right? Yeah. Those games, they do happen, but I think you have a guy who is far more confident in his abilities as a quarterback after being with Kevin O'Connell. You are also seeing a guy that you know his limitations. And one thing I appreciate about Sam Darnold is he has an awareness of them too. He knows it, and he's got a really good head on his shoulders. So I think your floor is not ridiculously low.
Sure.
But your ceiling is not high. So that window that you're talking about is pretty narrow.
It's pretty narrow.
Pretty narrow.
Which, again, the safety net quarterback, I think, is kind of what they were looking at.
And that's why you need to just get more weapons. You need to find a way to put more weapons.
And they get a second and a third round pick by trading away Geno and trading away DK. So there's at least something there to work with. Well, speaking of something to work with, Josh Allen has everything and more to work with in his bank account. A new record for a deal in the NFL and guaranteed money. We'll get to that and more in free agency and deals around the NFL because the NFL is at work today. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
The
This is probably the music that is playing at Josh Allen's financial institution right now. Because it's nothing but headbanging. As $250 million guaranteed sliding into their coffers. Look, the CEO at that bank's like, I'm glad we got the old Wyoming kid in early. Josh Allen set to get a record $250 million guarantee, a sizable chunk of money, and a massive commitment from the Buffalo Bills as markets across the NFL are being reset on the daily. We had the news on, was it Thursday? Was it Thursday or Friday that Max Crosby was Thursday was the highest paid non-quarterback in guaranteed money. That was broken over the weekend by Myles Garrett after Browns owner Jimmy Haslam said, no, I will not take a meeting with you to discuss about where we're trading because we're going to give you all the money in the world and we're going to make you the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the game.
Think about that timeline of Myles Garrett.
It's very dumb.
And how everything worked out with Myles Garrett. February 4th, he says, this is a very unserious organization. I want to trade. I want to win. February 27th, Myles Garrett does not negotiate a contract extension with the Browns, says no. March 7th, the owner says, you know what? No, don't say screw us, screw you. I'm not meeting with you. And then 2 days later, he signs a 4-year, $160 million deal. That's $40 million per year. Nope, it doesn't make sense unless you go operate under the idea of it's all about money, man.
When it gets that high,
about money. He is saying both sides were like, he's really damn good. We can't afford to lose him. Mm-hmm. We're going to pony up. And he's like, you know what? You're winning in my bank account. Yes. And that's where I want to win.
There's
the most.
A win coming through there.
Yeah.
What's very interesting about this is there is another preeminent defensive player that is not getting a lot of coverage right now. And he is sitting there in Dallas, and Micah Parsons, the Commanders trade for Laramie Tunsil, and about 40 minutes ago, he just tweeted out WTF.
Okay, who has botched their young stars or young really good players more, Dallas or Cincinnati?
Dallas, because even though they paid the wrong ones too much money.
Yeah, they NFC Easted that thing. They went and took a playbook right out of a page right out of the playbook of the Giants. And they said, we're going to give Dak Prescott $1 billion.
When no one was going to do it.
Yeah, bet against yourself, man. Oh, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want Micah Parsons, though.
Yeah.
If he ever hits that, and he wants to be in Dallas.
That's the insane thing. Of the three guys, Parsons, Prescott, Lamb. Parsons is the one that wants to be there and is the best of the three, and he's the one you're not taking care of.
It's great.
I don't get it.
It's great.
I don't understand it. Like, health permitting, is one of the 5 best defensive players in the game.
Really damn good.
Dak Prescott is not on that level. CeeDee Lamb is not on that level.
No.
And that's the guy that that's the guy you damage the relationship with?
Yeah, man. Well, it's interesting. He wants the money, but he still is. Like, Micah Parsons is good soldiering this and being like... He
said that you don't have to give me $40 million.
Right. And they're still like, I don't know.
Meanwhile, Dak extorted you for every penny that you had.
Yeah, it's tough, man. That's tough. But in the end, they may be able to hold on to all of those guys. The Bengals probably aren't.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But the gap between Burrow and Prescott is... seismic.
Yeah, and they took care of Burrow.
Yes.
Now it's like T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson. Dude, just back up the Brinks truck. That's all you got to do, man. It's way more easier said than done. But I think that if there's one thing that we have found out with the NFL salary cap and the way that it's structured, is that if you are willing to kick the can down the road and eventually pay a bunch of dead cap money, you can field a winner and keep your window open as long as you need to. But you've got to be able to, one, have the money to put into the escrow to make sure that all of the guaranteed money is available. And then 2, you got to be willing to pay for those guys when they're gone. And if you're not willing to do those things, you get stuck into where the Bengals are right now. And I'd be pissed, man. I would be so pissed if I was a Bengals fan. Just because everything that you wanted and you hoped you could get for decades, you finally got. And it's like, yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
It's just, we talk about that again, the gap being bridged around the NFL, but the teams that are not doing it is standing out now.
Yeah.
It's just in a seismic fashion.
I'll tell you what, they do put the fun in dysfunctional, though.
They do.
They got some really good guys, but boy, golly, they can't figure this thing out.
Some of the worst teams in the NFL over the last 20 plus years are figuring it out. The Cowboys and the Bengals. Well, at least the Bengals have had success. They've been to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, they went to a Super Bowl.
That matters. We all thought that, hey, maybe since they got there and they understand what they are, they might, because they give Burrow the money.
Yeah,
they gave Hendrickson his first re-up, and you're like, okay, they're spending on the defense, they're spending on offense. You're going, hey, maybe they're not going to cheap this out. Maybe they finally understand that when the window's there. And then they just stopped. And it was like, wait, no. You were going down the right path. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Tradition, history. This is what we do.
Make the stupid decision. All right, we're going to keep it in the NFL free agency game. There's still a lot of, not even tertiary, secondary, I think, moves that are going to be quite impactful throughout the NFL season. We'll get to those as well as the guys that are still remaining on the trade market, the Cooper Kupps, the Trey Hendricksons, and a couple of wide receivers that are changing spots. That and more. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with Sports Center Update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers have lost 3 straight and 4 of their last 5. It's a quick turnaround. Heading down to San Francisco tonight to face the Warriors. DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams III are out. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. And Denny Avdia is questionable to return. It's a 7 o'clock tip on KUNP. That is channel 2.2 on your antenna or Xfinity channel 302. The Blazers are 12-point underdogs. The beginning of the NFL's legal negotiating free agency period started this morning. The Commanders in agreement with defensive end Javon Kinlaw on a 3-year, $45 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. The Buccaneers bringing back wide receiver Chris Godwin on a 3-year, $46 million deal with $44 million guaranteed. The Buccaneers also bringing in defensive end Hassan Reddick, 1 year, $14 million. Patriots signing former Lions cornerback Carlton Davis to a 3-year, $60 million deal. Those same Lions replacing him with Jets cornerback DJ Reed at 3 years and $48 million with $32 million guaranteed. The Cardinals defensive end Josh Sweat, 4 years, $76.4 million. The Patriots swoop in and give defensive tackle Milton Williams $26 million per year after he was previously linked to the Panthers. Colts signing safety Cam Bynum, 4 years, $60 million. Titans and left tackle Dan Moore to a 4-year, $82 million deal with $50 million guaranteed. The Bears and Pro Bowl defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. That one is 3 years, $43.5 million. Former Oregon tight end Johnny Munt heading to the Jaguars, and the Rams bringing back quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of prime time with Isaac and Sue. Weekdays 3 to 7, 1080 The Fan.
Beyond the mega deals in the NFL and the Seahawks ushering in a new era, there are still a ton of massive, massive deals around the NFL. We've talked about J.C. Horn and DJ Reed. Obviously, DK being traded. Darius Slay going to the Steelers. Devontae Adams is the heir apparent to what you would expect to be the Cooper Flagg replacement, as they are now waiting to find a landing spot for Cooper Flagg.
Cooper Kupp?
Or Cooper Flagg. Good.
We also are waiting to hear the landing spot of Cooper Flagg, who was just named ACC Player of the Year.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. But
I'm messing up my white Coopers.
It's okay. Yeah, it's a problem. The Rams now have Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell, and are going to get something for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, because they have leverage now. It's to the point of like, we can wait this out. We're good.
The money's going to be a problem eventually, but at this point, there isn't a receiver in this damn draft that is anywhere close to Cooper Kupp.
No.
Now, the value in that sliding scale, there will be a team that is in a window and says, all right, we got some wiggle room.
Mm-hmm.
We can go out and we can make a trade. We can get a guy and in Cooper Kupp that is going to be very serviceable for us. Like the Rams offseason, they're hitting doubles right now because Stafford coming back, absolutely huge. You get Puka Nacua, and I love Tutu Atwell.
Yeah.
Like Tutu he's a fun receiver to have in there. And in that system, now that you have, is Devontae Adams on the back end of his career? Absolutely. Still has gas left in the tank and will force teams to keep you honest. And you add him with Puka Nacua, I love what the Rams are doing. But Devontae Adams signing there, and again, it wasn't one of those deals where you're like, God, they overpaid and they reached for the guy. It's reasonable. It's a lot of money, but it's still reasonable, and you only have a very small window left with Matthew Stafford. Push all in, put the chips in the middle, let's go. And they went and they got another receiver to add to that, and he's not with Aaron Rodgers, which is what everybody was kind of seeing. And now look, like Rodgers, all the reporting now seems to be that Aaron Rodgers is going to Pittsburgh. Like that seems to be the path that we're going down. Leaves the Giants with a big question mark at what the hell they're going to do at quarterback. And I know one team that we're not talking about, but they've got to figure it out, is the Cleveland Browns. Because it ain't going to be Deshaun Watson.
No, and they're hoping for some relief there in some form or facet.
If they can get a medical retirement out of him and just say, we're going to pay you money, go away.
Their books get cleaned.
And it'll be a little bit tough this year, but eventually you'll get clean with those. And you won't have that crippling quarterback contract. Like, they're the other team that will be looking for a quarterback. It does appear with the way that everything's falling in line, the Vikings' best course of action is to go with just J.J. McCarthy, which was the plan all along last year. And then Sam Darnold played really damn well.
Yeah.
And then became questions on that. It then becomes the Giants number one, and then number two, the Cleveland Browns on where the quarterbacks go and how everything sorts out. But not as much of the movement that there's been a ton of deals done, a lot of guys moving around, but guys like Chris Godwin, who's coming off an injury, goes back to Tampa on a sweetheart of a deal, actually had better offers, according to the reports that are out there, to go elsewhere. But he said, I want to play with Mike Evans. I want to play with Baker Mayfield. Let's run this thing back in Tampa again. Coming off injury, it'll be interesting to see kind of what he looks like and what this Tampa offense looks like. Because, again, the second year, this will be the third year in a row, they're on a new coordinator. And now the question is, can they keep this thing going? Because Baker's been playing out of his gourd.
Okay, we talked about the Rams, we talked about the Bears and how they've done so far in free agency. Who is the team that through the free agency period, whether it be through signings, through trades, combination of both, that you're looking at and going, okay?
The Bears. I think the Bears had massive questions that they needed to answer. And they improved their pass rush with Deo Dengbo, who they got from Indianapolis. You get a defensive end there. Over the last week, they have completely rebuilt the interior of their offensive line. With last week, it was Jonah Jackson and Joe Tooney You got 2 guards. Today they go out and get Drew Dahlman, who's the best center available. He's a veteran center, fits stylistically what Ben Johnson likes to do as far as zone run blocking game. He's kind of the brains of the operation in the middle. I think that they've done an incredible job. And then, like, look, they made a trade, but I also like the signings of the Washington Commanders too. You know,
That's where I was gonna
they've
go.
gotten Deebo Samuel, they've got Laramie Tunsil, who he may have a lot of penalties, but he doesn't allow pressures, and so your quarterback's not going to get hit due to Laramie Tunsil.
And you get Kinlaw.
And you get Javon Kinlaw. Like, they are
There's
making
some risk
all
in
of
these,
this.
in these.
There, yeah, especially Debo and Kinlaw
Mm-hmm.
because of injury history. But you're getting guys that are also winners too. And I think that's important when you're surrounding a young quarterback and you're going to go through some. There will be a sophomore slump. It happens to every quarterback. There is a tiny bit of a dip. But if you surround them with the right people, it's not as pronounced, and you can still succeed at a really high level.
And also, the sophomore slump from maybe the best rookie quarterback season we've ever seen is
pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
If you're going to have a sophomore slump, having it on the tail of that
Don't hate it.
is a pretty good spot to land. You don't really have to squint at it.
Yeah.
It's very weird looking around the NFL and saying, wow, look at the Bears.
Yeah.
Look at the Commanders. Look at the Lions. Look at the Bills. Like, just not just even in the last couple years, but just taking it like a holistic look at the last 20 years for those franchises and where they have been and where they are now. And you still have organizations out there like the Cardinals. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
They don't know.
It doesn't make any real sense. They signed Josh Sweat, which sure.
And that bringing him back with Jonathan Gannon, who they were together in Philadelphia when Gannon was the defensive coordinator. Yeah, go ahead, reunite him. But that's not. He's not a missing link, and he's not the missing piece that they all need. So
It just you just kind of look at it. I think the Bucks have done well for the most part. Just
Bucks. The Bills, and like it's not getting a ton of run, but the Josh Palmer signing, for
getting
the
another
Bills,
guy.
You get another receiver who, like, they're just going to go with, we want reliability.
Yeah, and not
They're
crazy.
getting that. They're getting reliability there, and you're getting different levels of weapons, right? They don't have the guy, but they re-signed Khalil Shakir, which that's going to be
To a good deal.
To a very team-friendly deal there. They're just going to move forward with, hey, what we got is what we got, and at receiver, but what we have at quarterback is one of the best damn quarterbacks in the NFL.
Your Patriot just made a move.
Oh, are you talking the Pasternak?
The Pasternak, baby.
Yeah,
Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. Can't wait. Really make that quarterback room smarter.
All right, coming up next, we'll put a nice little bow on today's show. We'll get a little bit of basketball, a little bit of Blazers. And
Blazers tonight. Let's
Blazers
go.
tonight taking on the Warriors where they are 12-point dogs.
Uh-oh.
Also, a little news about the other Cooper Flag. Danny Dusty, Danny the Fan. Portland Trailblazers on a back-to-back tonight in the Bay, taking on the Golden State Warriors, where they're 12-point dogs because they are playing their 9th game in their 9th different city. It's 9 games in 15 days. It's absolutely brutal. It is a schedule that no one should have to deal with. It is beyond dumb at this point that this schedule was allowed to happen. Some minor housekeeping. Jeff Russ had it in his update. Matisse Thybulle was sent down to the remix. He went and played his game. He has been since officially recalled.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've seen Tease. Over 2 months?
I mean, he hasn't played yet this season since injuring the ankle, coming off of he had the work done on his knee just right before the season started. He got some PRP injections, and he just when you get PRP injections, you get swelling and stuff. It takes a while to come back from. The night or the day before he was scheduled to come back, he rolled the living bejesus out of his ankle. Like, it was bad, and that was late December. I think I've said this on the show before. He told me that the doctors basically told him it might have been better for him to break the ankle.
Oh, great.
It was that bad of a sprain.
It's always a good thing.
But pregame last night, he literally ran into the locker room, as Tease always does with his shoes off. And I'm like, hey, man, how you feeling? He's like, stopped, smiled, good. And then he ran back in to go get treatment. I'm like, all right, so we're on track. The Blazers have a 7-game homestand after tonight's game against the Warriors. They also have 3 days off after their first home game back on Wednesday. They have Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. I would imagine after those 3 days, you will probably see Matisse Thybulle play.
Good. I mean, that's huge news because this year's just been, as
it's
you
been lost
outlined, it's been derailed left and right.
Yeah, and look, I don't know if Tease factors into their future, but I just want to see it for Tease. Like, Matisse Thybulle is a awesome dude. One of the most thoughtful people to talk to. He's still incredibly young. He's 26. Like, he's a young dude. Like, it's not like he's been in the league forever. So you just kind of root for a guy like him, and I want to see him get out there and show that he's still capable of being the defensive disruptor. And honestly, think about throwing him out there with their new mentality and how aggressively they play defense. And you have all of a sudden that guy. It's just fun. It
would be very fun to see he and Toumani Camara either on the floor at the same time, or the guy that you get a reprieve from Toumani Camara being off the floor is Matisse Thybulle coming in. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. But again, for this year, what it means, who the hell knows?
Look, if nothing else, he can show other teams, I'm good, I'm back, I'm healthy, if the Blazers do decide to move on from him.
Last night, that loss kind of felt like that was it as far as hey, we're going and looking to win.
To play in. Yes. The Suns and Mavs played yesterday as well. The Suns beat the Mavericks, knocked them down a spot, but the Suns also go up, so it's not really much of a change. The Blazers are 4 games back from that 10 spot, and with 17 remaining, Joe and I did it on the show last night. That's a win, that's a loss. There's 7 games on the schedule that they should win of the final 17. And beyond that, it gets pretty damn dicey.
I'd rather just watch them lose them all. At this point, that's what, it's not going to hurt anything that you're doing. We know, the confidence of these guys won't be wrecked because of it. Just lose.
And Joe Cronin has said he's not going to take that opportunity away from them. I think the math right now dictates that it's basically done. 4 games in the final 17 when you're only going to be, and again, those 7 games, you're probably favored in 5 of them. The other 2 were maybe coin flips as far as whether or not you'd be favored. So how are you going to make up 4 when you really only have 5-6 games that you're going to be favored in? It's just tough. So I'm with you. And there is an opportunity because they do play the Bulls. They do play the Spurs.
Yeah.
The 2 teams that are right there behind them.
They are a half game better than the Spurs right now, and they are a game and a half better than the Chicago Bulls.
And
just lose.
And again, though, when you talk about head-to-head, it is essentially a 2-game switch because you're giving a team a win and you're giving a team a loss, being that team. In the college basketball world, I wanted to sneak this in here. According to Bovada, Cooper Flagg has the best odds to return to Durham as opposed to going to the NBA if either Washington or Charlotte win the draft lottery.
Now that's the qualifier there. If Washington or Charlotte win the lottery, the odds are in favor of Cooper Flagg saying, yeah, thanks, no thanks. I'm going to stick around. But if it is, say, Utah or New Orleans or Toronto.
Or heaven forbid, one of those teams like Oklahoma City. Let's say Philadelphia doesn't keep the. Oh, I'm sorry. There's just top 6 protected. Houston. Houston has Phoenix's pick. If Phoenix does somehow, the Mavs hold on, and somehow Phoenix falls down, and that 1% chance hits, you don't think Cooper Flagg would want to go to Houston?
Yeah, he would.
Yeah,
he would.
Yeah.
But those are the only 2 teams that if Washington or Charlotte win the lottery. Mm-hmm. The odds are now in favor of Cooper Flagg returning.
Plus 220 to stay at Duke. It's plus 550 for Charlotte or Washington.
The NBA has been looking for a reason in a way to curtail tanking. Mm-hmm. NIL may be the entire reason why that happens.
The number I've heard for Cooper Flagg is $12 million to return to Duke.
What's the number 1 pick make in the NBA?
11.
Makes 11?
I think it's 11.6. So almost 12. Which is why they would give him that money. And that is not also considering all of the other money that would probably... I had somebody in college basketball tell me the other day that it is not unfeasible to think that Cooper Flagg could make $20 million going back to Duke.
Good for him. He'd also make a butt ton more going to the NBA. But I think that just highlights how he is viewing
his
those
career.
2 teams. And those franchises and what they have put on paper over the last decade.
Look,
I'll say decade,
yeah,
because I'll give Washington a little grace there. But I mean, Bradley Beal and John Wall, they had something.
They went to the playoffs.
Yeah, with Marcin Gortat,
Polish Hammer, baby. Not to be outdone, the New Orleans Pelicans are right on the edge of that as well. As far as that list of teams where, number 1 picks go to die.
That's right. Ugh. Not literally.
No, but Anthony Davis, Zion Williamson.
All right, that does it for us on this Monday. We'll be back tomorrow from noon to 3. Up next, you got 4 hours of power from their mouths to your ears. It's prime time with Isaac and Suk. Have a great Monday, everybody.
Bye.
Isaac and Suk here with Ken and Donnie, the advocates. People don't know that it's actually not going to cost them a dime to use you, because people don't know that.
Yeah, it is surprising how few people know that. People that do what we do, injury attorneys, get paid. It's something called contingency fee.
I think it's great because it establishes trust.